Hi, I'd like to give a little bit of information about trauma, and this is not only to the person who has experienced some kind of trauma, but also to family and friends who are trying to help. And so a lot of times people ask, am I going to be whole eventually? Am I going to be able to, in therapy, get to a point where I'm whole? And the answer to that really is that in therapy, we try to get you to the best place that you can possibly be. And although everybody has hiccups along the way, and they have little things here and there, and stressors, and people pass away, and divorces happen and all that stuff, those are all natural parts of living. Going through a trauma like a sexual assault or a robbery or a physical assault or abuse or something along those lines, that's not a natural part of life that people are supposed to go through. And so I'm going to kind of demonstrate in terms of that. And basically, if you just look at a blank piece of paper, a regular piece of paper, it's pretty clean, it doesn't have a lot of wrinkles or whatever. And when you get traumatized and something happens to you, you're a victim of a crime or something along those lines, this is what it does to you. And sometimes it's tighter than that. And as a therapist, my job is to help you to unwrinkle that paper as much as possible. So we take it apart, and we might, rub it against something to try to make it as good as possible. And there's always going to be those lines there. The trauma is always going to be there in your past. But what our goal is to get you to the best place that you can possibly be, meaning that you're not having as many nightmares, or possibly, hopefully, no nightmares related to it, that you're not getting startled by things that you wouldn't have normally gotten startled by. You're not as irritable or upset or frustrated or sad when things happen that are out of your control that trigger the trauma. And triggers could be anything. It could be, seeing a palm tree, and, you remember when you were assaulted that you saw a palm tree that day. Or, it could be random things. It doesn't have to be what you think it is. If you were assaulted in a bedroom, being in a bedroom doesn't necessarily have to be a trigger for you. It could be, it could not. There could be that there was a candle burning in that bedroom, and that's a trigger for you. And what a trigger is it's something that causes the post-traumatic stress symptoms. It causes you to have some kind of unpleasant experience based on that. And a trigger, and not everybody knows what their triggers are. And so in therapy, we try to teach you what your triggers are and how to identify them, and how to get a little bit more used to them, so that way you're not triggered so much by them, and you can move on and try to have as healthy and happy as of a life as you possibly can. And keeping in mind that the trauma is always going to be there, but hopefully we can get you to the point where it doesn't have as deep as an effect on you as it might now. And so I hope that answered a little bit of your question. I have some blogs about trauma therapy and the different types of trauma therapy that I do, and so I hope you'll look into those as well. Take care.